Am I the asshole for reporting my brother to the IRS for identity theft? 34M here, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table at 2 a.m. with a stack of IRS documents, trying to figure out if I'm about to destroy my family or finally save myself from financial ruin. 6 months ago, I thought my biggest problem was picking up overtime shifts to build my emergency fund. Now I'm facing a choice between protecting my brother and protecting my entire future. Here's the situation, and I genuinely need perspective because I feel like I'm going insane. I work as a registered nurse at the county hospital, been there for 8 years. Yeah, I'm a guy in nursing, and yeah, I've heard every joke you can think of. But it's good work, stable income, and I'm good at it. I live within my means, pay my taxes on time, have decent credit, the whole responsible adult thing. My only income is my W-2 from the hospital, no side hustles, no investments, nothing complicated about my financial life. My brother Evan is 29 and has always been what you might generously call an entrepreneur. Less generously, he's someone who's had 12 different business ideas in the past 5 years and has crashed and burned at every single one. MLM schemes, dropshipping ventures, cryptocurrency day trading, you name it. He's constantly borrowing money from family members and friends, always just one big break away from making it big. 5 years ago, when he was trying to start some kind of online marketing company, he asked if he could use my social security number to open business accounts because his credit was temporarily damaged from a previous venture. I told him absolutely not, that was illegal, and he needed to fix his own credit problems. He got pissed, said I was being selfish, that family should help each other out. But I held firm. Using someone else's SSN for business purposes is identity theft, period. I thought that was the end of it. 6 months ago, I got a letter from the IRS that made my blood run cold. I owed $87,000 in unpaid business taxes. I stared at that letter for probably 10 minutes before it sank in. There had to be a mistake. I'd never owned a business. I'd never filed anything other than a standard 1040 with my nursing income. I called the IRS immediately. After 3 hours on hold and 4 different transfers, I finally got someone who could look up my account. According to their records, I was the owner of a limited liability company called Digital Marketing Solutions LLC that had been operating for 2 years and had failed to pay quarterly estimated taxes. Sir, this business was registered using your social security number and has generated significant income that was never reported on your personal tax return. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I've never owned a business. I've never even heard of Digital Marketing Solutions. If this is identity theft, you'll need to file Form 14,039 and provide documentation proving you didn't authorize this business registration. That night I called Evan. Hey, we need to talk. Did you use my social security number to register a business? Long pause. Jackson, I can explain. Did you or didn't you? Look, it's not what you think. I just needed to get the company started and my credit situation was complicated. You weren't using your SSN for anything business related anyway. I felt like the floor had just dropped out from under me. Evan, the IRS says I owe $87,000 in business taxes. That's impossible. The business barely made any money. It's been dead for over a year. Then why am I getting collection notices? I don't know. There must be some mistake, but don't worry, I'll handle this. I'll call them and explain that it was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? You committed identity theft. Don't be dramatic. It's not like I used your SSN to buy a car or something. It was just paperwork to get the business registered. I was going to change it to my name once my credit improved. The casual way he said it, like stealing someone's identity, was just a minor paperwork error, made me realize how little he understood about what he'd done. Evan, if I can't prove this was identity theft, I'm personally liable for every penny this business owes. Do you understand that? They can garnish my wages, put liens on my property, destroy my credit. That's not going to happen. I'll fix this. Just give me a few weeks to sort it out. How exactly are you going to fix owing the federal government $87,000? The business is closed now. I'll just explain to them that there was a mistake in the paperwork. I hung up feeling sick. Because I absolutely knew, that Evan had no plan, no money to pay this debt, and no understanding of how serious federal tax fraud is. The question I'm wrestling with is this. If I report this as identity theft to protect myself, Evan will face federal charges. Identity theft, tax fraud, potentially other crimes depending on what else they find. My mom is already calling me twice a day asking if we can work this out as a family. My aunt thinks I should just pay the taxes and chalk it up to helping my brother. It's not like he meant to hurt you, she says. But here's the thing, I don't have $87,000. I'm a single guy living paycheck to paycheck with a modest emergency fund. This debt would bankrupt me. Am I the asshole if I file the identity theft report and potentially send my own brother to prison to save my financial life? Or should I trust him to figure this out and risk losing everything I've worked for? Because right now, it feels like I have to choose between destroying him or letting him destroy me. Update 1 posted 2 weeks ago about discovering my brother used my SSN to start a business that now owes the IRS $87,000. I thought that was the worst it could get. I was so wrong. Yesterday, I got another letter. This one wasn't from the IRS. It was from a commercial lending company informing me that I was in default on a $150,000 business loan. A loan I never applied for, never signed for, never even knew existed. I called them immediately, and the customer service rep confirmed that yes, there was a loan in my name, secured by the business assets of Digital Marketing Solutions, LLC, the same fake company Evan had registered using my social security number. The loan has been in default for 4 months, she told me. We've been sending notices to the business address, but since you haven't responded, we're now pursuing collection against the personal guarantor. Who's the personal guarantor? You are, sir. According to our records, you personally guaranteed this loan when it was originated 18 months ago. I hung up and immediately called my bank to check my accounts. My savings account, the emergency fund I'd been building for 6 years, had been frozen. Not closed, frozen. I couldn't access a penny. Then I called my HR department at the hospital. They informed me that they'd received a wage garnishment order and would be withholding 25% of my paycheck starting immediately. In the span of one afternoon, I went from financially stable to completely screwed. I couldn't pay my rent, couldn't buy groceries, couldn't even put gas in my car. My brother's paperwork mistake had just torpedoed my entire life. I used my last functioning credit card to hire a lawyer who specializes in identity theft and tax fraud. The consultation fee alone was $500 that I couldn't afford, but I was desperate. After reviewing my documents, she was blunt. This is extensive fraud. We're not talking about one business registration mistake. Based on the loan documentation, someone has been operating multiple business entities using your identity for at least 2 years. She advised me to file identity theft reports with the police, the FTC, and the IRS immediately. Every day you wait makes this harder to prove and gives the perpetrator more time to create additional financial obligations in your name. That evening I called Evan again. There's more than just the tax debt. There's a business loan for $150,000. Did you take out loans in my name too? Jackson, I'm handling this. Did you take out loans in my name? The business needed capital to get started. I was going to pay it back once things took off. My wages are being garnished. My savings account is frozen. I can't pay rent this month because of what you did. Look, I know this looks bad, but I'm working on a solution. I've got some potential investors interested in a new venture, and once that gets going, just stop talking. The complete disconnection from reality in that response told me everything I needed to know. He was still thinking about his next business scheme while my life was imploding because of his last one. This morning, I filed police reports for identity theft and fraud. I submitted Form 14,039 to the IRS. I opened cases with all 3 credit bureaus. I started the long, expensive process of proving that I didn't steal from myself. The police detective who took my statement said something that's been echoing in my head all day. Identity theft by family members is usually the most extensive because they have access to personal information over long periods. You might want to prepare for this to be bigger than what you've discovered so far. Meanwhile, my family has started the guilt campaign. My mom called crying, saying I was tearing the family apart over money, and asking why I couldn't just work out a payment plan with Evan. My aunt left me a voicemail saying she was disappointed in my decision to involve outsiders in family business. But here's what they don't understand. I'm not destroying the family over money. I'm trying to prevent my brother from destroying my life with his crimes, because that's what this is, crimes. Multiple felonies committed deliberately over years. The lawyer says the identity theft investigation will take months, during which my wages will continue to be garnished and my credit will remain destroyed. Even in the best-case scenario where I'm cleared of all liability, it could take years to fully repair the damage. I've had to borrow money from coworkers to buy groceries. I had to take a cash advance on my credit card to pay my lawyer's retainer. I'm living like someone who just filed bankruptcy, except I never made the financial mistakes that caused this. My brother stole my identity, my financial stability, and my peace of mind, and my family thinks I should just forgive him and figure out how to clean up his mess. I'm not dropping the charges. Update 2. It's been 6 weeks since I discovered my brother Evan had stolen my identity to start businesses and rack up over $200,000 in debt. What started as one IRS notice has turned into a federal investigation, and the scope of what he did is beyond anything I imagined. The IRS assigned a forensic accountant to my case, and what she found was staggering. Evan didn't just start one business using my social security number. He started 3 separate LLCs over a 2-year period, all using my identity. Digital Marketing Solutions was just the first one. The other 2 were E-Commerce Innovations LLC and Consulting Services Group LLC. Between the 3 companies, he'd accumulated over $300,000 in tax liabilities, business loans, and vendor debts, all in my name. But here's the part that made this a federal case. He'd been moving money between the companies to hide losses and avoid paying taxes. The forensic accountant called it a deliberate scheme to defraud multiple creditors and government agencies. The evidence is overwhelming. The business addresses are all his apartment. The bank accounts are all in his name. The email addresses used for business registration trace back to his personal accounts. There's no way this was a misunderstanding or temporary borrowing of my SSN. Last Wednesday, IRS criminal investigation and the FBI executed search warrants on Evan's apartment and seized his computers, phones, and financial records. That's when he finally called me hysterical. "Jackson, they took everything. My laptop, my phone, all my files. They're treating me like a criminal." "You are a criminal. You stole my identity and committed tax fraud." "I never meant for it to go this far. It was supposed to be temporary until I could get my credit straightened out. You have to help me. You have to tell them this was just a misunderstanding between brothers." "A misunderstanding? Evan, you destroyed my financial life. I'm living on borrowed money because my wages are still being garnished. But I'm your brother. You're the only one who can fix this." The entitlement in that statement that I should fix the mess he created by stealing from me was breathtaking. "I'm not fixing anything. I'm the victim here, not your accomplice. If you don't help me, I'm looking at prison time. Federal prison, Jackson. Is that what you want for your family? I want you to face the consequences of what you did." He hung up, but an hour later my mom called, sobbing. "How could you do this to your own brother? He made mistakes, but you're destroying his life. The FBI came to his apartment like he was some kind of terrorist." "Mom, he stole $300,000 using my identity. The FBI treats that seriously because it is serious. You could make this all go away if you just told them it was a family arrangement." "It wasn't a family arrangement. It was identity theft. And even if I wanted to help him, it's too late. The IRS has evidence of systematic fraud spanning multiple years. You're choosing money over family." That phrase, choosing money over family, has become the family rallying cry, as if protecting myself from financial ruin is somehow morally equivalent to committing federal crimes. The good news is that the IRS has formally cleared me of all tax liability. The forensic evidence makes it obvious that I had no knowledge of or involvement in these businesses. My wages are no longer being garnished, and my frozen accounts have been released. The bad news is that my credit is still destroyed and will take years to fully repair. Plus, I'm out thousands of dollars in legal fees and lost wages from time off work to deal with this nightmare. Meanwhile, Evan is facing federal charges for identity theft, tax fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. His lawyer told him he's looking at 5-10 years in federal prison if convicted. The family is completely split. Some relatives understand that Evan committed serious crimes and that I had no choice but to protect myself. Others think I'm being vindictive and should have handled it within the family. My aunt sent me a text yesterday. I hope you're happy. Your brother's life is ruined because you couldn't forgive a mistake. But this wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. This was a deliberate, years-long scheme to steal my identity and use it to fund his failed business ventures. The hardest part isn't the money or even the legal stress. It's realizing that some of my family members think I should have accepted financial devastation to protect someone who betrayed me in the most fundamental way possible. I didn't choose money over family. I chose protecting myself over enabling a criminal. Edit. A lot of people have asked about the money he made from these businesses. According to the forensic accountant, all 3 LLCs generated minimal revenue and operated at significant losses. Basically, he was borrowing money to fund failing ventures and leaving me responsible for the debt. Edit 2. For those asking about restitution, even if Evan is convicted and ordered to pay restitution, he has no assets. The seized items were mostly personal electronics with minimal resale value. Final update. It's been 4 months since I discovered my brother had stolen my identity to start multiple businesses, accumulating over $300,000 in debt in my name. The legal case is finally resolved, and I wanted to close this out because the ending taught me something important about family loyalty and where it should actually lead. Evan pled guilty to federal charges including aggravated identity theft, tax fraud, and wire fraud. He'll serve 18 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised probation, and owes full restitution that he'll likely never be able to pay. The IRS has officially cleared me from all business tax liabilities and removed the fraudulent LLCs from my records. My credit score is slowly recovering, though it'll take another 2 years to fully repair the damage. I'm back to financial stability, but I'll be paying off the legal fees for the next year. But the real resolution happened last week, when Evan was sentenced. He sent me one final text from jail while awaiting transfer to federal prison. You were the only person who could have saved me. I hope you can live with what you've chosen. I stared at that message for a long time before I understood what bothered me about it. Even now, facing prison for stealing my identity and destroying my financial life, he still sees himself as the victim. In his mind, I'm the one who betrayed family loyalty by refusing to go down with his ship. But here's what I finally understood about real family loyalty. It doesn't mean protecting someone from the consequences of their choices. It means not enabling them to destroy themselves and others through those choices. For 2 years, while Evan was creating fake businesses and accumulating debt in my name, he had countless opportunities to stop. Every time he applied for a loan using my SSN, every time he filed false tax documents, every quarterly payment he skipped, those were choices to continue stealing from me. He didn't make one mistake that spiraled out of control. He made hundreds of deliberate decisions to put his failed business ventures ahead of my financial security. The family aftermath has been exactly what I expected. About half our relatives understand that Evan committed serious crimes and that I had to protect myself. The other half has essentially cut contact with me for destroying Evan's life. My mom still calls occasionally, but our relationship will probably never recover. She's chosen to see this as me choosing money over family, rather than me refusing to be financially destroyed by criminal behavior. You could have worked something out, she said during our last conversation. Family finds a way. What way, Mom? I was supposed to just accept $300,000 in debt that I didn't create. I was supposed to let my credit be destroyed and my wages garnished indefinitely. You were supposed to help your brother instead of sending him to prison. But that's the fundamental misunderstanding. I didn't send Evan to prison. He sent himself to prison by committing multiple felonies over multiple years. I just refused to go down with him. The relatives who have stuck by me understand this distinction. My cousin David, who's a CPA, put it perfectly. Evan didn't just steal from you. He gambled with your entire future without your knowledge or consent. Anyone who thinks you should have protected him from the consequences doesn't understand how serious identity theft actually is. Last week, I finally moved into a new apartment. Bigger place, better neighborhood, something I've been saving for since before this nightmare started. As I was unpacking, I found the original IRS letter that started this whole thing. The one about owing $87,000 in business taxes. Looking at it now, I feel something I didn't expect. Grateful. Not grateful that Evan stole my identity, obviously, but grateful that I found out when I did, before the debt got even larger. Grateful that I had the backbone to protect myself instead of trying to keep peace in the family. Grateful that I learned the difference between family loyalty and family enabling. For anyone dealing with financial betrayal by family members, you are not responsible for cleaning up messes you didn't make, even if the person who made them shares your DNA. Protecting yourself from fraud isn't selfish, it's necessary. Family loyalty should never require you to accept being victimized. The right choice isn't always the easy choice, but it's still the right choice. I didn't destroy my brother's life. I just refused to let him destroy mine. Edit. A lot of people have asked if I feel bad about Evan going to prison. Honestly, no. He had 2 years to stop stealing from me, and instead he escalated to more complex fraud. The 18-month sentence is actually on the low end for the charges he faced. Edit 2. For those asking about my financial recovery, I'm doing well. The legal fees were substantial, but I'm back to building my emergency fund, and my credit score has improved from the low 400s back to the mid 600s. I should be fully recovered within 2 years. Edit 3. Someone asked about Evan's reaction to the sentencing. According to our cousin who attended court, he broke down crying and told the judge he just wanted to succeed and never meant to hurt anyone. The judge responded that intent doesn't matter when the harm is this extensive. That pretty much sums up Evan's problem. He never understood that good intentions don't excuse criminal behavior.